Hi, this is Bob Weiss. I'm the host of Shaking Your World. Cheers.
Folks, welcome home. Yet another episode of Shaking Your World. Here we are in the kitchen at Shakers with Jaclyn in the house, and we are doing another of the Cooking with Blonde series. Today, what are we making?
We're going to start with some crab cakes.
Crab cakes. Yum.
Delish.
So, of course, I have a little spin on these that you typically don't find that I think is going to be enjoyable. And then we're going to do a fillet, right? Beautiful prime fillet. And then lastly, we got a little tail. So do a lobster tail as well. I'm going to poach that in butter. Yum. So here we are. You got this thing going on, and I'm going to suggest that we take this and a zester, and we get some zest off of that. And the zest is also going to go in here. While you're doing that, I'm just going to...
How do I... Just like this?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a good way to, like, hold it?
Nope. But if you do it wrong, you can gouge your skin, and those are nasty little gouges that take a long time to heal. All right, so I got 2 pounds of lump crab meat here. Beautiful. Got about 3 cloves of garlic here. Over here, look at that technique. That's wonderful technique. We got some paprika, we have some cayenne, we have some Old Bay seasoning, a little bit of mustard, dry mustard, and some crushed black peppercorn. There we are.
How much zest we talking?
Oh, you could have stopped like 3 minutes ago. I just want that little essence right there, so just that in there.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
Lovely.
Done with him for the moment. Then we need some pepper parts. So over here, we've got these. Now, I'm going to want little pieces about 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch, no larger. So classic Brunoise cut. While Jaclyn's doing that, I'm going to beat some eggs. So I like to do about 1 pound per egg, depending on what size these are. These are a little diminutive, so I might use 3 of these total. And we're just going to break them on a flat surface first. Come on, buddy, get in there. Just like that. And just as if we're making an omelet, we're going to whip this guy. I often see people making crab cakes where they just put the eggs right on top of your crab meat and try to blend that together. It's not going to work as well, man. So you should take the extra couple of minutes here just to beat these things yourself. It's good to beat the eggs. You get a lot of air into them, and the air, of course, is where the flavor is as everything interacts. We're also building volume. Volume is so important. It's like we're doing hair.
Yeah, I'll be honest, Bob. I usually just crack an egg in my crab meat. I don't whip them.
Well, here we are.
Just been doing this all wrong.
No. It's nothing wrong about that. Just a little bit different. So I'm going to take our panko right now. Panko. Panko is breadcrumb that is originally from Japan, and it's all the white portion of the bread, no crust. It's the Japanese style. For panko, it's a little bit larger as well. And it's going to be a real good binding agent as you want the egg to bind with the crab to set these up in the cake capacity. My personal thought on crab cakes is that we should be doing these a day ahead of time, even several hours ahead of time. Allow them the opportunity to set up because it's going to be a better product. They're going to be firm, they're going to be joined together, and that's a good thing. So we have options here. We can take our panko. Let me reach over you, Jaclyn. Thank you. And we also need a few dashes. You said you like just a couple in here, right?
Just a couple.
So, like that?
One more.
Okay.
There we go.
There we are, and I'm just going to use my hands, and that's why God in her wisdom gave them to me. All right. A little finer on those? What do you think? Why not?
Fresh peppers, they're...
This is the part where my kid calls it machine gunning because I just dance through these things. But don't, you don't have to do that, please. We're not in a race today.
Okay.
Though it is surely snowing out there, it's a blizzard. We might not be able to leave the place tonight. And we've got, man, oh man, it could be 2 inches coming.
All right.
So the thing you notice about this is that we are primarily crab, almost exclusively crab, a little seasoning going on here. These guys are going to go and use their bench knife if you like, just toss that right in there. And what I see a lot is that people have too much, frankly, of pepper in here, and they don't bind right. And you're just eating this really kind of, every time you bite into a bite, it's not the succulent pepper that you taste, it's rather just this big cellulosey bag of fluid, which I don't think is so cool. So I think that's about the right amount. What do you think?
Cool. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Now, a little panko in here. There's a couple ways to do this. You can use the panko on the back side just to coat these, so when you are setting them up to fry them, or you can put them in now to bind. We're going to bind, obviously. Naturally, we're not measuring because we're at Shakers and we don't, you know.
Yep.
We're not baking, we're
No
cooking.
need.
No need.
We're not cooking.
Now these are some coarse pieces of lump crab, which is, you know, why we bought lump crab and not just pieces. You might have to put one more egg in here. Oh, please, Jaclyn, go at it.
Ooh. Get all gooey.
Gooey's good.
Smells fantastic.
Fresh crab is a beautiful thing.
Sure is.
There are even times I put an anchovy in there, but since we're using the Worcestershire, it's already inside.
Yeah. Love it.
Now, what are we going to set those up on, you ask? That's a good question. I'm going to take a just a pizza pan right now. Just take any pan works, either a sheet pan as well. I'm going to set that up right there. We're going to get ourselves some paper. This could be parchment paper, wax paper, or any kind of paper you want to use. Probably not the newspaper though. There's nothing worthwhile in it anyway. So what I just do is I just take these, but you've got experience with these things. So how big do you want them?
This is a good size.
So what do you think?
Easy enough to. Oh, geez, just a couple ounces.
We might even be up to 3.5 or 4
Okay.
I think, on these, but sure. I think that's a nice size too. So what I generally do is about palm size is what I'm looking for. Perfect. Great. So they can be a little higher or a little bit wider. It doesn't matter. They're all going to cook well. Obviously, if it's a little bit higher, it's going to take a little bit longer to cook at a lower temperature. If it's a little broader, you can cook it a little bit faster, a little more speed on it, and make it so it stays together. Perfect. You got that.
Just got to get in there and get a little messy.
So if we had 2 pounds of crab to begin with, and then just a couple ounces of extra things like the pepper, whatever else, and then we're about 4 ounces per, we should get about 8 cakes out of this. How are we looking? About 8 cakes?
I think so.
Yay!
Yay.
It's like patty cake too. It's kind of fun to, you know.
I know.
Sometimes just shake your own hand just so you're there. It's a centering thing, I think,
Just
right?
to know you're-
I don't know.
I agree.
Those crazy euphemisms here at the Shaker's Kitchen. Now we've also made these a little bit of a jalapeno inside of these, which I think is a marvelous thing because I like a little bit of spice. I like just a little more flavor, but this skews more towards the traditional style. And of course, we've got cayenne chili in here, which will give us some boost as well. Then mustard is going to be a real nice interplay with that. And for some reason, people don't think about mustard kindly, and I think that's kind of a misnomer. I think the reason is that often people associate mustard with that, the French's stuff you put in hot dogs, the yellow mustard. But the reality is that mustard is so good, has so many applications for you, and there's so many different variations of it, and it's really malleable for all sorts of things. Big on mustard here.
I like mustard. Okay. So I think we got one more. We can, this one looks a little tiny. We'll
Sure.
just add to it.
Sure.
Why not?
Now, what I was alluding to is that we could also take panko and we could put panko on the outside so it crisps up a little bit tighter. I don't think we need to. I think just having the panko inside is going to be adequate. And most importantly, my view on crab cakes is I want to taste the crab in the crab cake, not the breading. So that's my methodology for this. And of course you agree.
I agree.
Of course you agree. Now, we're going to let these groovy things just set up. We do have space. Kind of. So it's better if you keep them chilled as they set up as well. It really tightens everything up and it just gives you a better product, a little more control as well. So here we are after a fast lick and a promise. Shall we just run through this? You want to do this as a separate portion?
You can just run through it.
All right.
Oh.
So we're going to do these stovetop. We're not going to put these in the oven. We're not going to use a salamander. We're not even going to use my torch on this. We're just going to do it right here. This is a prime fillet. It's 8-ounce portion. This is the most expensive cut you can get out of a steer. And it's going to be incredibly soft and delicate and lovely by the time we're done with it.
Lovely.
Pan, speed. How about some butter? Give us about 2 tablespoons. Use your tongy thing if you like. And utilizing the other components that we have here, we're going to get several dashes of this on. Remember, that stains. So Lee and parents, yep. And not quite yet, but at some point we're going to use our lemon. So we used zest before, that went into our crab cakes. Now we're going to use that along with this. And again, just anytime I use butter, I get a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in there as well. I think there's a ton of flavor that's going on here. I personally don't think that we need to have either any chilies or garlic or anything like that. If you want it, we're going to do it. What do you want?
That's a lot of flavor, honestly. The Worcestershire and the lemon and the butter.
Yep.
Ooh.
There's one
Keep it
component
simple.
I do want to do, though. I want to get some oregano in there.
Just a little bit of...
Coolio. Move this guy around. Nice consistent little thing going on. I'm going to pull some of that off right now. You don't have to, but I'm going to. I have plans for that in a few short minutes. And into this pan, we're going to put a little more butter and a little more extra virgin olive oil. Get that back up to speed. Once up to speed, we're going to take this. You can feel free to cut that out. You notice the smile on her face and the gleam at the same time as she's using that knife.
Ah, yes. What a lovely little piece of meat.
I'm sure the home audience is saying the same thing. Just real simple salt and pepper. Form it up a little bit, and there you are. Address the pan. Hello, pan. Perfect.
Here it is.
All right.
Wow.
It smells so beefy, doesn't it?
It does.
Beefy. Now, of course, you at home get to see this take place, but you don't get these smells. They are phenomenal. This is coming up. It's just the assault on the senses is, but a good assault. So, and the sizzle, I think the sizzle is kind of nice. A little subdued, but it's a nice sizzle as well. Again, we talked about this, I think, last week. There's a school of thought that says when you put it on, leave it on, turn it one time, and that's it. I don't follow that school of thought. I like to baste these guys. I want to get maximum flavor. So I'm going to do
I get that.
You're gonna do the sides, top and bottom first. You're gonna get your top and bottom done, and then we're gonna rotate it around as well.
Cool.
So I like these medium rare.
Agreed.
Medium rare. And I think we could probably take a little more butter, like that little teaspoon right there.
Use it up.
And here's a lovely spoon for basting.
So just kind of.
Yep. And now I'm actually going to back this down a little bit. If we had a salamander or a broiler, we'd be hitting this hot at between 5.5 to 750 degrees. If we were at Ruth's Chris, we're doing this at 1600 degrees, but I don't think we need to go that hot. I think this works just fine on our pan, so we're probably about 350, 375. And I would say let's turn her over, and this time let's rotate the sides too, because that's looking just delish to me.
Turn over just on the side?
Yeah, and then rotate the sides around like you're rolling a ball.
Kind of like so.
Kind of like so. Like she's done this before. Good dear God.
Dear God.
You're fun to cook with because, well, you know how to cook, or you at least you're experimental, and you certainly love food. But there are so many people today that just, their idea of making something at home is, where's the microwave? And give you that package to pop open.
Yeah.
It's crazy how we slid.
Totally.
And this is fun,
This
isn't
is
it?
fun.
This is fun.
Yeah. I'm used to doing the just one side and the other and then popping it in the oven. So this is kind of fun.
Yeah, it's good to play with your food.
Sure is. Yeah, I'm just kind of swimming this.
Yeah, we're swimming. Okay, let's lay her down.
We're swimming. Okay.
Sizzle, sizzle, broil.
Smells amazing.
You can baste it.
Are we basting?
Baste.
Basting away.
Now, while Jaclyn is basting, I'm going to get this lemon in here. As opposed to our lemons last week that had these big nubby things on, this particular species does not. But it's going to be every bit as lemony.
Lovely.
So, while we're there,
Wow.
get both the meat and our sauce. And right about now, I'm going to add a little more of this in.
Love it.
And just to make sure we enhance the flavors.
Oh,
I'm going
yeah.
to take that and just do that kind of thing.
Look how beautiful that looks.
Again, this is not the method that you learn in culinary school, but I would say that much of what you learn in culinary school really isn't worth learning. Taught by people who can't cook, that's why they teach.
Oh.
So I think we're just about ready, and I put that right in the center of your plate.
All right. One last little
thingy. Yep. Nice by itself, but let's
Beautiful.
take our jus, whatever you want to call our sauce at this point, and drizzle. So this is simply butter, right? Worcestershire sauce, oregano, and a little bit of lemon.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the oregano.
I think it's just delish this way.
Yeah.
So, like anything else for meat, what you should do is let it set up for a while before you cut into it, which is always the hard part for me because I just, I'm cooking at home, I just want to rip into it. But we're going to put that on the side and just kind of let it nestle for a moment or two.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, what's the last thing we're doing today?
We are doing tail.
We are doing tail. All right, so our tail I think is pretty much slacked and ready to go. Gonna grab another pan. Pardon me, Patrick.
All right.
Yep.
Look at this cute little guy.
Yeah. All right. So, what should we do with this thing?
I know you cut it off, or do you? I don't know.
There's a bunch of ways to do this. We could slit it right here. We could pull the shell back and expose the meat. Or just what I've been into lately is taking these things, I'm going to stick a skewer into it first.
Ooh.
And otherwise the proteins are going to seize up. So what we're going to do first is put this in the oven for a moment with a skewer in it.
Kind of keep it straight.
Uh-huh.
Because that happens to me when I try to boil it. It just kind of shrinks down.
I am going to do my best to get you away from boiling these things because when you put it into a pot of hot water, you dilute the flavor from here. You take away, right? So please feel free, you know, it can be pointy and sharp, so don't stick it in your palm, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Just under the...
Or a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch down is fine. You could. There's a little sand vein there too, you can follow that. It's all good.
kind of all the way through like that?
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, now we're going to take another pan like this, put this on here, and just stick it in our oven on the top deck.
Oh, wow.
So feel free.
You drinking there, Bob?
Espresso, Bob. Keith?
Oh, yeah.
Bob's gone. All right. Why don't we, while we're waiting for that, why don't we have you cut into this?
Cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I am so excited for this. Look at that. Oh my goodness. You gotta get all the... Oh, Bob, that is good.
We did good.
The Worcestershire sauce and the lemon.
Brings the flavor out.
Mm-hmm.
Acid is so important in food, really is. Cool. So the degree of doneness you want?
Yeah,
I would come back again if I was you.
I would too.
Cool.
That is so good. The meat is top notch too. You can't make a good steak with a bad piece of meat.
That's
You
true.
know?
You make a stew out of that or something else, but yes. Chili. Who doesn't love chili?
That is, wow. That was really good. Wow.
Okay, back to the
Phenomenal.
trenches. We stand back here and grab the tail out of the oven. We're going to put it right up here. We're going to cut it at that point. But right before I do that, I'd like you to start this off with some butter. You can use actually all that butter.
Okay.
So speed on. A little drop of olive oil as well.
A lot of butter.
Then, a lot of butter. While I'm getting that, I want you to smash those guys
Okay.
and toss them in.
Mashed or finely chopped?
Smashed is good. So here we have our tail for the night. This pan is really hot. The skewer is really hot. As you see, we're just getting out of heat, and the exoskeleton here is starting to turn colors, which is really fun.
Oh, it looks gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. All right, you go there. Hot thing goes somewhere out of the way.
How long was that in for? 4 minutes?
If that.
Not even?
If
Yeah.
that. Okay. So
Okay.
hot here.
Yeah.
Warm here. Hot here.
Yeah.
Like that.
Just take it out. Cool. Yeah,
Now the
it's
fun
so
thing.
pretty.
In fact, one day soon we will do whole lobsters, and I'll teach you how to take them down while they're alive, and because that's where
Oh,
the
yeah.
best flavor is. So we have two options here. If the head was here, we would start at the head and draw through the head first, through the carapace, and then work our way back. So because I think we want to start on this end here and work our way back this way, that's what we're going to do. So I want you to do it, but just simply stick your knife in and then draw it down.
Okay.
You might, after you stick your knife in, you might want to put the towel here to brace with, okay?
And then you just kind of...
And you can actually then at that point use this hand as well and kind of push on the knife top. It's kind of weird the first couple times you do it.
Is Kind of. Getting there.
Yep, you're there.
Ugh. I think I got it. Did I get it all? It's kind of harder than it looks. Okay. Oh, there we go.
So
Then
to
it
this,
went
I'm going to
through.
take just a little bit of black peppercorn, like so. And then we'll take this guy, and so you got a slit right here.
Yeah.
You're going to follow through both sides. Crack, crack, crack. I love that sound. And there it is. So it is just
how pretty.
Yeah, so it's still obviously it's raw in the center. So if we're doing sashimi, we could eat that. But we're not, so we're not going to. And simply like this. And yeah, it's going to curl up a little bit, but not as much as it would have if we didn't have the skewer in. If we had shorter, like a bamboo skewer, we could stick that in here as well and maintain it. So you're going to take that temperature down a little bit because you want it to cook all the way through, and we want so much that butter goodness to just kind of be everywhere. Butter goodness.
Cutting it through the center and having the sides up is such a cool presentation.
So if you're doing a surf and turf at home, rather than have the lobster on the side, depending on how big your meat is, you could have this on top of the meat, and you're building volume as well. So volume draws attention.
Yeah.
Cool. So this would be another labor of love with the basting. So there you are.
I'm good at basting. And how long are these cooking for, Bob?
Not long at all. We could do it much faster if you wanted to, but I don't want the proteins to seize up so much that it's tough. And
I agree.
You know, we often hear people talking about they scored these really big lobsters for a cookout. Well, that's cool to look at. But my thought is that after something's about 2.5 pounds, it's not going to be tender anymore. It gets really tough. So old lobster is a nice thing to talk about and look at, but they're not a good thing to eat. If you're doing just like a stir fry or something, they're passable that way, but you know, why do that? Lovingly caressed here with the butter. Man, oh man, it's a little butter bath. Who doesn't want a butter bath as well, right?
I don't know anyone who doesn't.
How could you? So let's put the pan flat for a moment or two, and you let them sit so we can get a little cooking all the way around. We can even dance it like this for an instant.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then we'll come back, but even though we got a little brown here, the brown is the butter. It's not like it's burned or it's hard. Right. So that's something else that we're looking for. And again, we have a lower temperature, and that's how that's working out.
Cool.
So this is some wakame, or actually, what would you have on the side with this?
Oh my.
Well, our veggies, of course, would be so good with this, wouldn't they?
I was thinking like a fresh salad, like something just like crisp, clean, because this is so buttery. I was thinking something with a more like vinegar, kind of a cold, crisp, like a fresh, like, or like one of those wedge salads would probably be good, or just like a garden salad. I mean, you can't go wrong.
So we got this brown going on right here, right? Maybe turn orange in just a few short moments. This kind of reminds me of years ago, and I was at a very big name restaurant at the time in downtown Milwaukee, and I was someone's client, and they were taking me there for dinner, and the waiter, whose name was Ike, suggested that we have the lobster. They just got this lobster, and it's fantastic. You can tell it's fresh because if you look on the underside, it's going to be pink or orange, right? Never brown. Had the lobster. Lobster comes out tough, it's chewy, it's not a massive lobster, it's just wrong. So I signaled to Ike, and I'm never complaining in restaurants. And I said, there's something about this lobster that's not quite right. He said, sir, I can assure you this is fresh, he says. And he picks up my lobster and says, because it's going to be pink or orange underneath, and of course it's brown, and I said, he said, as I said, if it's brown, it's good. I'm like, anyway.
Wow. You remembered his name after all these years. Ike, if you're listening.
Ike, if you're listening.
That looks beautiful.
It does, doesn't it? So I think we're done with the heat portion. Let it sit there
Yeah.
because it's going to continue to generate. You know, it's got the energy on the inside for the heat. And we've got to think about our plate. Since we don't have any salad greens up here right now, Bad Bob, I guess we're just going to go
It's
with a
all right.
plate.
Just a plate.
plate.
Just plate it.
Plate. Yay, okay.
All right, we ready?
You are.
Be cool to have him like.
Almost like the yin and the yang.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was.
Sure.
How, like that.
Yeah.
And then you could have something.
Sure.
Yeah.
And actually, if you had the greens underneath, they're not going to twist around. We've got the little twisties there.
Right.
Sure. And now that, what would we do with that?
Would you put it on the side or would you just dribble it all over?
Maybe both.
Okay.
We could take a little mustard as well and mix something else up. We could do like a
Ooh.
little mayonnaise with some of that. Let's do that.
Ooh,
Let's take a
let's
little
do
mayo.
it. I can't help myself. I just had to pour some.
Yeah. Let me see if I can locate some Hellman's mayonnaise over here. And then again, maybe. All right, so what we'll do is we'll take some
Little
Remoulade. We'll pound this into a mixing bowl. Into a really big mixing bowl, apparently. All right, so Remoulade is French, but it really is come to its own in New Orleans. So it's a combination of Dijon mustard and mayonnaise. We have a little bit of a hot component there, a little paprika, a little cayenne, a little bit of acid as well. I just like acid in a lot of these things. So let's take that. I'll get you a small whisk, and we'll take about
Okay.
a third of that into there. Lovely.
Nice.
So the beautiful thing about this is that we're not just getting the melted butter and the garlic flavor, we're also getting the lobster flavor itself because we're
awesome.
using the flavors that are in the pan.
Yeah.
Again, this is a thing that I see taking place in restaurants everywhere is that this new generation of cooks just doesn't appreciate the flavors that are there. They're just thinking they can make the magic happen immediately, and you can't. You work these other components, and that's the play. So let's use our same little pasty thing here.
All right.
And slop it up, and just put a little glop, and you can kind of tail it down. And that's cool. And or you can take it like this. And
Oh.
So we could do this kind of a thing as well, like a smear.
Nice.
So maybe we could do a smaller smear, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who
Who
cares?
cares? Tastes
Add a
good.
little bit of life. We'll take a little bit of peppercorn in there just to give it, again, something going on. All right,
Wow.
well, someone should taste that now and see how lovely it is.
Oh my goodness.
That's lovely by itself. This would be great on a salad. Holy, great on a salad.
Get a new knife here. Do I just kind of
Or
get into?
cooking with Lance second becomes eating with Lance. Since we're in the kitchen, we could use our
Yeah.
fingers to pry this apart as well.
Yeah.
It could be less splashy on your top that way, but either way is good. So
just
you can
kinda-
use a knife or anything
Okay.
else, just kind of get underneath like that. It's hot,
Yeah.
and you can pull that up.
Woo. Oh yeah. There we go.
Yum.
Oh my goodness.
Well, since you got it there, I suppose I'm obligated.
You
to
got
taste
him. Wow. The remoulade is pretty good.
Yep. Flash in the pan, my dear. Flash in the pan.
There we go. Good?
Oh yeah.
Ah,
Lobster,
yes.
lobster goodness.
Wow.
Now, this could
Awesome.
be a little more tender if we get a couple of things. One would be if we didn't take a frozen tail right before this and slack it. If we had let this work its way in a refrigerator for a day,
Sure.
it would have been more tender. We could have pulled it off a moment sooner.
Really
it would have
good.
been more tender, but I think it's lovely just the way it is.
It's lovely.
Okay.
Gorgeous presentation.
Oh, well, to you, of course. All right, why don't we load up your steak along with this and get you at a table. You can eat on this. Eat on
All
it.
right.
Pardon?
The-
Well, let's have her eat this while it's still warm and edible, and then we'll come back and do the crab cake.
All right.
When you are.
Ready.
Folks, here we are back at the Shaker's Kitchen with Jaclyn, and we knocked out a couple of really groovy courses, and that lobster tail was wonderful, wasn't it?
Fantastic.
So now we're going to finish up our crab cakes. So these are something that we made about an hour ago or so, right? And they've been setting up in our refrigerator where these can go back and nestle. And we're going to do something a little bit different now. So we've got this pan with the
Ooh.
renderings, more than renderings, with the garlic and butter that we had for the lobster. So there's going to be some lobster flavor here as well. I just want to play around a little bit on this one. So we're going to take the garlic out because you don't want burnt garlic. Nothing more icky than burnt garlic. So, butter that's been flavored with the lobster and the garlic. And this we're just going to do some straight up butter. Butter, ma'am.
Ooh. How much you want?
Oh, about a tablespoon and a half. So a third of that is probably pretty good. A little bit of olive oil on the bottom of the pan. Yum. Wait till these are just about the right speed or equal speed. Yep, these are nice and firm now.
Beautiful. Nice.
Fish turner,
Great tool.
cheap, $8-10 makes a little difference for things like this.
Yum.
All right, looking pretty good. That's almost ready on this side. This is going to be almost ready at about the same time. All right, you do that one, I'll do this one.
Okay. Just
Yep. Yep. So we're starting on high, and then going to back them down.
okay.
Now, since we're carrying forward the flavors of the lobster in that butter mixture
yeah.
right there, we've also kept some of this. We took a remoulade, and we married the remoulade along with,
The lobster and butter combo.
who doesn't love that, right? So we're going to take that now and use that as a smear on our plate. Let's take a different one. So we'll get away from some of the oil that's on there.
Fresh.
And we're just going to work this down into one area. It hasn't separated or anything, so we're just going to take it like this and just do a smear like that.
Okay.
So you don't need a full spoonful, just maybe a half a spoonful or something. Cool. And as you can play with it, more either way if you want to or don't want to. But we're interested in getting the flavors that come out of this, again, from the lobster, from the butter, from the garlic that was there. So now if we're back on this pan right here, you can see we're starting to brown. We don't necessarily want to have overly brown butter, but we are going to turn these down a little bit and let them continue to cook. And how do you know when to turn these, you might ask?
That's a good question.
Well, right about
Are
now.
they kind of brown on the bottom?
Yeah, they would get brown on the bottom, and you might see some, again, not crusting, but a little brown on the perimeter as well.
Oh,
and
they
that
look
would tell you it's about
gorgeous.
time to go.
Oh, yeah.
So when you turn those, that does look good.
Check
You turn
that
those, kind of
out.
turn them away from yourself, otherwise it can splatter up. Nothing ruins a dinner party more than hot grease on your face. So
Ah! Come on. There we go.
that's one way. Okay.
One way to do it. Just don't want hot grease on my face.
Not so much. So these are incredibly simple to make, as we made it's a batter, right? So we made the batter from the lump crab, a little bit of fresh pepper on there, a few spices in there. Wham bam, we're done, right? Set up for a while, at least an hour, 2 hours, the day before, perfection.
Nice.
Here we are. So this will be one of the things that we're going to offer on New Year's Eve.
Lovely. I'll be there.
It's really important that you embrace cooking because you get into something which is something that you're making yourself and you're making for the people you love, or you may just make it for yourself. I hope you love yourself, for God's sakes. But it's, especially in these really difficult pandemic times, it's good to have something that is so easy to do and yet has such a big impact upon your psyche. Food is essential, obviously, for any number of reasons, but eating that food, partaking that food, smelling the food, the goodness that's there, is good for your mind.
Yeah, agreed. It's fun to do. I mean, when not a lot is open, you can at least have a fun little trip at the store, get some fresh ingredients, and then, I don't know, make a night out of it.
Now, we don't want to play with these too much.
Got it.
So this one in particular is a little fragile in the center. Again, setting up for longer would get around that. This one is nice and tight.
Yeah.
So I'd say let's take the temperature down a little bit. If you wanted to, you could put these in the oven as well for a while and let them cook that way. But I think this will be just groovy right here.
All right.
Now we have an order here for blue crab claws, so I'm going to work around this.
Great.
Which means I'm going to run downstairs and get some crab.
Gorgeous crust. So good. Where's the best crab cake you've ever had, Patrick?
About New York City.
Okay.
Couldn't tell where.
Nice.
How about you?
Boston. Somewhere on the north end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Freshness or how to made it?
Yeah, I would say the freshness of the crab and kind of what Bob does, just focusing on the lump crab meat as the main ingredient and not like all the other fluff, you know? Like there's a lot of crab cakes that are more like breading or, you know, I don't know, where you're like, is this even crab? But yeah. No, I've had a lot of good crab cakes.
Have you had bad ones?
Yeah. Have I?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like what I was just referring to. I don't remember where. It wasn't on the East Coast, though. It was probably somewhere in Milwaukee. Not here. But where, again, it wasn't focused on the love of crab meat. It was other stuff.
So do you suppose we can put both of those into one pan? What do you think?
Sure.
Which way are you going to go? Left to right?
Ooh, yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
How is this? I think I'm gonna flip it again. There we go. Oh, gorgeous. Turn that off.
Well, I'm going to use the same pan, the same energy, because it's
Ooh,
crab, right? Crab to crab.
crab to crab.
Swimming blue crabs from Colombia. At least that part of the Caribbean.
Gorgeous.
A touch more butter, because butter and crab, yum, yum, yum. And we already have some garlic flavor going on there. We'll get just a touch more. And to keep everything consistent in the house, we're going to get a little piri-piri. So the pepper oil brings so much richness and love to that dish. Yum.
Awesome.
I guess back up on top.
Keep it up
And I need to get that remoulade to your left.
there. Right here?
Yep, thank you.
It's just gorgeous.
And some sriracha, please, on top. Lovely. And if you can shake our crab claws.
We're shaking.
Uh-huh. Cool. You can even flip these over. That kind of a thing. And they're ready to go. These guys are
That's an
almost
advanced technique,
ready
Bob.
No, it's all the same. Only advanced because you haven't done it 3 times. Once you do it 3 times, you're there. So these are already steamed and cracked. All we have to do is get them up to temperature. If you overcook these, they start to crumble and fall apart. That's not nearly as sexy.
No.
So we use these as well in a number of dishes like bouillabaisse or chipinos, certainly in paellas, but they're just delightful little claws of goodness.
Awesome.
So we've been invited to come down to do a guest chef series in Florida. And you can get these. You can get these right off their pier as well. So I just want to get
That's so
just
cool.
a couple little drops. If we put too much in, it's going to overburden the plate, and we don't want that. So just a touch like that, and they are there. Magic. All right, ma'am. Let's get our. Yep. Again, if we had spring greens up here, this would be great. Almost any type of a salad or green as a base underneath this. Even wakame would be great to go along with this, but. Man, these guys just look delish.
Gorgeous.
I might suggest that what you could do, that's interesting and nice, but you could also put them up like that and do any number of things. Thank you guys. Cheers. Good night. So we can do something like that on here.
That does look quite nice.
It's a thing. A little crack sauce would be kind of cool on here, or even some balsamic. So I reduced our balsamic down a little bit, and we can just do like a little pinky kind of thing on there, just to give it, some visual thing. And I'm a kind of a big proponent of just peppercorn as well. It adds so much.
Awesome.
And, while we're there, a little salt. Whee! Folks, thank you very much. This again has been another episode of Cooking with Blondes at your Shakers channel. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, send us an email at shakersmilwaukee@gmail.com. The important thing is to embrace yourselves and the people that you love and cook, man. Cooking is fun. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.